Hey guys, landmark shave today. Mini milestone. Over here on this side over here, you can see the 9 dots. That means today is shave number 170 on this Nacet blade. I've already got it loaded up in the razor. As lately as usual, this timeless with a knurled handle, and this is the 68 gap, their milder razor. And as you can see, it has the open comb base plate. And I found that to be a really nice tool to use and wield this old blade. The Semogue 1250 is a little Boar brush, pretty cheap, maybe 12 bucks, something like that. And it does a pretty good job. It's got a pretty relaxed feel, and so if you like a lot of backbone, this is not going to be the one for you. Some of the tips have split, I think. I've been soaking it now for just several minutes while I've been prepping. I'm going to put it back in the water just to let it go a little bit more. Kind of going to get back into my Boarathon where I get back to using the 7 boars that I've been bringing up together. They're all kind of at 16 uses right now. All right. The soap for today, I assume we'll just pronounce it Jurate, and it is a very ambery kind of scent, but they've thrown a lot of cool things in with the amber that I do like. Normally amber puts me off just a little bit, but I believe maybe they've added enough to where I will, there's potential for me to enjoy it. They say on their website they wrap the warm, rich scent of amber in a blend of woody cedar, hay, sandalwood, with touches of vanilla, rum, and cinnamon. Hopefully the cinnamon won't be too strong. I don't like that one too much. But I like a little bit of vanilla, love sandalwood, hay, a little bit of cedar. So let's just see what happens with today. I've been smelling it for a couple of days. By Mickey Lee, Soapworks, I'm sure you noticed. Definitely get the amber and some of the musky type scent. So let's see what happens. All right, let us splash my face. A little bit of water. Then we can go right into loading. As usual, I'm going to shake most of the water out. This little guy doesn't hold nearly as much water as the Badgers I've been using lately. All right, so we'll do a 30 second load, and 50 rolled around just now, so we'll go to the 20 mark on the next minute. Mickey Lee is a pretty good soap base. It's not the top tier, but it's pretty good, and especially some of the scents that they have developed. I like a few of them. Just recently bought a big old batch of soaps that had several Mickey Lee options, and so I'm having fun trying those out. And there's 30 seconds, and we've got a good bit of lather from this guy. And what the brush looks like is very much going to depend on how much water you left in your brush. If you just really shook it out a lot, then it's not going to look like that. If you left more water in there, then it might be more drippy and thin, kind of as you would expect with the water dilution and stuff like that. All right, let's before I forget, I want to show you the Nacet in here. There you go. Here's my little X up here, my little identifier that is the one I've been using for this marathon. 170 uses. We're almost to August. And that last year is when I started using this blade. So we're going to try to hit 200 at the end of August if I can. So, let me take a quick look here. Let me pause you. I just wanted to check the soap base notes that I have. 2.5 teaspoons of water is about what I used last time I put together a soap from this base, and so that gives me an idea about how quickly to add the water. It's kind of pasty and not very bubbly at all right now, you know, because I just don't have too much water in the mix yet. Let's fill up my syringe. Now, I'm not going to add the full kind of 2 ounces right away. I'm going to put it in just kind of a half at first, then I'll add the rest. I want to kind of give the soap a little ease into the lather world without being too harsh. I just feel like doing that today. Or you know what you can do, just stir for a little bit and then add half a teaspoon. So instead of adding a bunch at once, you could add a smaller amount more frequently. You might want to try that with some soaps. I guarantee you there's a few soaps out there that probably is an important feature, an important technique to have. And now we've got the full 2 in it, and I'll refill the syringe. And there's 2.5. So we'll just integrate that and then check the lather viscosity, see how it feels. I know I've noticed that some soaps, some scents, even in the same soap base, might require different water amounts. So you got to allow for that. Maybe because of how the different fragrance oils or whatever react with the soap, I don't know. Looks very nice. Oh, nice and creamy. And I feel some good slickness there. I'm going to add a little bit more to the mix here. And now I'll probably try that as my first pass. Now if you use the same soap base over and over, you'll likely just be able to kind of eye it after a while. Because I mean, we shave every day, and so after a month has passed, then you may have 30 uses with a certain soap. And it's really kind of cool to be able to dial one in just kind of so naturally because you've used it so much. All right, let's take a look at it. I'm going to bring it all down here. He's not too slippery. He's not dripping off the brush or anything like that. Not super long peaks when he disconnected from the brush. He's holding his structure pretty well. Some different attributes to look for. You can also bring the clump down and then kind of pull it up and watch the stretch. So there's a little bit of elasticity there, but you know, the peaks weren't super long. This guy's able to support his weight pretty well. There's some other things to look for. You may not like your lather how I like mine, so I'm just showing you some things to look for that you can gauge and figure out how your peaks look. How do you like them? You know, that sort of thing, in case we're different. All right, a little water on my face. Not a lot of this scent has come up to my nose while I was mixing it, which is because it is because it's such an ambery type scent. All right. So lather looks nice. face is wet. It's funny how 30-second loading or a certain time or a certain number of swirls seems to be a pretty good way to go, because sometimes the larger brushes might need more soap because they just have a lot more hairs to deal with, and so a certain length of time would be better than a certain amount, you know. Like I used to spoon out a 1/4 teaspoon of soap. All right, let's go back and get a little bit more. I think about a day's worth of growth is what I've got on here. And so this lather doesn't look as good on the face as some of the top tier stuff, and that's okay. So I like the scent, I think. It's got some, almost like something bitter in there that I find very interesting, almost like an oud type of scent. Maybe part of that is the cedar, you know. I can see how that would contribute to that. All right, use number 170. No tugging really. I mean, just a tiny bit. Not enough to really bother just about anyone, really. This razor just really works well to handle the smoothness of the Nacet. Do I get closer shaves with newer blades? Sure. The next time I use a Nacet, am I going to go to 170? Nah. I'm just doing it for fun, just to see how far I'll go. So once I figure that out, I don't believe I'll need to do it again. It's not like I'm doing it for the money, right? Using like a 10-cent blade that I'm making last for half a year. Another reason I don't really rate this soap as high as some, like Sterling, for instance, there's not a lot of residual slickness with this one. Now, some people that might be advantageous. You know, maybe you need a quick rinse. Yeah, this is a good scent. I think it's really interesting. I bet the wife is going to think it sucks. So I'm glad I don't have the aftershave. I don't think I'd get much use out of that. I like it. So as usual, I'm using my tepid tap water, just kind of whatever comes out of the cold tap. And in this location, it is hard water. Every once in a while, I'm getting a really nice whiff of that, and I'm really enjoying it. I would not have bought this soap after reading the description, since it is so amber based, but I'm guessing that the smooth amber is really what I don't like, and maybe all these other additions are, and maybe even the amber itself, it's almost like a burnt amber. I'm just kind of trying to put words to it, but more of a bitter amber, and I'm kind of liking that. All right, third pass. Not a lot of creamy feel here during the rinses. That's all right. I mean, Very, very good. It's a very serviceable shave soap. And again, I'm constantly evaluating my brushes, and so in a normal shave, this scrubbing motion that I'm doing here, you really only need to do that on the first pass. The rest of them maybe you scrub just to kind of spread it around your face, and then you switch to a painting motion like this. And you don't really need to do the scrubbing very much. But for me, I'm just kind of I like the feel of the brushes. And I'm kind of evaluating them a lot, and so my habit is just to kind of use that scrubbing motion on every pass, but you don't need to do that. Lightly holding the razor, just a simple grip that's close together. And I'm practicing good technique so that even if I switch to a new blade for the next shave, then I have never had any problems with having a learned bad habit cause problems with the new blade. I know other guys have had that happen where you get used to pressing a little harder to make a blade last a long time. And then when you put in a new fresh blade, you give yourself some cuts. Because you just never needed to make that kind of pressure. But I'm trying to exercise good technique the whole way through. And it's been successful so far. I have switched back and forth between newer blades and haven't had a problem at all. Plus, I feel like if you have to, my point is just to see how far it'll go under a good shave. And so if you have to accommodate it in some weird way, in an inappropriate way, then I think that's the point where I would say, I'm done with it, we're good, that's as far as I can go. All right, rinse. So that's 3 passes, but I am going to do another touch-up pass on my trouble spot because I did not do that certain direction stroke that really gets me good results in that area. So let me do that. And then just kind of some in the other direction to be the cleanup. All right, I'm going to rinse and check everything out. I think gauging on the feel for that shave, I wasn't really thinking I would get a really close result right here. I think I saw one hair with some length to it, and the rest of them cut really well. So and that kind of beat my expectations there. So very good. 3 teaspoons of water for the 30-second load was good, and I have, looks like pretty good lather economy today. I bet I could get, 2 passes out of what's left here. Maybe one good one real rich one, if you will. So pretty cool. 30 with this brush, the 30-second load doesn't pick up as much soap as a bigger brush, and so it still is just right for me. Man, I really like this scent. It's a very cool little discovery today. Brush is comfy. It's not super soft. How many of these tips have split? Let me see here. Not a lot. And so we're just going on the, right now the softness is probably due to the low nature of the backbone. And then once these tips are really split on me, then we'll get into a different level of softness, I'm sure. Yeah, I just finished stropping it on the towel back there, and it's opened up pretty well. I'm sure it'll keep opening up as uses go on. I mean, we're just talking about 16, I believe, for this brush, and so it's still pretty young for a Boar, but it's nice and comfy because it can take on a lot of water, and you saw the splay. It just feels good on the face, and the tips, just very few of them have actually split. There are a few, but so it's going to get even nicer. That'll be interesting. I think some people would definitely consider this a little bit on the floppy side, and so I could see why they may want to go to something different. But if you're going for soft, and also I think this is a neat one to get if you just kind of want to play around with bores and you like soft stuff, because it's really cheap, and the handle's pretty comfy. I enjoy it, and it's a good quality brush for not very much money. So this Jurate is and I apologize if I'm butchering the name, is a great example of a reason to come, for me at least, to come back to Mickey Lee and have some of these in my inventory, because the scent is just very interesting to me. I just enjoyed it fully, and so maybe the performance isn't quite as good as some of the soaps out there for me, but the scent will keep bringing me back to this guy on occasion, and I'm really glad. I don't think they make it anymore, so I'm glad that I was able to get some of this in that lot that I bought. So 170 uses on the Nacet, and it did great. Face feels nice. No drying effect. My face doesn't feel like it's shrinking or itchy or anything like that, so that's good for this soap base. Let me go down and see what kind of post shave we have. You know what seems like it might match with this is my Cade balm. It's got kind of that bitter, oody, musky type scent. Let's give it a shot. And with this, I like to throw a little water on my face to make it easier to spread around. Don't have to quite use as much. I've got oily skin anyway, so I don't need to use too much balm. And in case you're new, there are alcohol splashes as well as these kinds of balms. And the balms, you can really think of them as like face lotion. It does have specific things in there to help the skin heal after the shave thing, because pulling that blade across the skin does remove some of your top layer of your skin, and so you need a little bit of healing, even if you don't feel like right now. I feel no irritation, but this kind of product is nice to just help repair that and keep your skin in good shape. I mean, for years, a lot of guys would just do the alcohol splash like Aqua Velva or Old Spice, or whatever. And with many, their skin was able to rebound. And so maybe you're like that. I could probably do that too, since I have oily skin. The alcohol in a post-shave product is often very useful for me to kind of hold back the oily skin and keep it in check. But I'm using a balm today. A lot of times I just like a balm a little better. All right, so there we go. Excellent shave, 170 uses. August of last year, I hit 30 at the end of the month. I didn't even know if I'd be able to go to the end of the month, because that was the first time I'd ever taken a blade that far. And here we are, still working on it. At the time, I created a Google page for some of the people in the sub to submit their blades whenever they stopped using a blade, and then the reason, like tugging too much, that sort of thing. And so several guys have put some entries in there, a couple people into the 30s, most of them like 8 or something like that, kind of the more standard time frame that a lot of people use for their blades. But the ironic thing is, I don't have a single entry in there, because the Nacet that I was using when I started that is the same one I'm using today. And so I haven't pitched any blades because of age, because of use because of the feel due to the age of the blade. And so it's funny, I created that and I haven't used it at all. I don't have a single entry. All right, there. Well, good shave, really good. 170 down the drain. And so let's see, today is the 22nd of July. And so that means I've got roughly 8 more days, 9 more days till August starts. And, well, 8 more shaves probably. And I'm not going to be able to shave all of August, so I need to count right so that I land on, I'm going to try to land on 200 at the end of August. So there we go. So I hope there was something here for you. I bet there aren't too many shaves out there on YouTube with Jurate as the lather, so this could be educational for somebody doing some research on that. Mickey Lee is a pretty good soap base. Really happy to be using that. I'm really happy I got this soap. Very interesting. Not really too much out there like it. And I'm glad to bring this the brush along on the journey. We'll see when he starts getting his tips to split and how he feels at that point. He already feels pretty good. And there we go. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You take care. Have a good day.